Hi there, Saba. This is Michael. I am the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-Step System to Pass the TOEFL IBT. And you're one of my online TOEFL students, and you completed 3 different pronunciation practice exercises over at my VoxyPop discussion group. So the first one is lesson number 18. Exercise 1, then we have lesson 18, exercise 2. So let me remind myself what these two sounds are. So we have okay, so you're practicing the L and the R, and also I think this is more of what's called the flap. Now the main thing with you, I think you're okay with the L. The R, sometimes you pronounce it sometimes a little bit with a trill, like that, like return. So we want to make sure that you're not doing that. So that's one thing that you've been working on over the last few weeks, something I've been giving you feedback on. So here we go. Let's go to the readings, and we have all these different words are focusing on the different sounds in this lesson.
1. More than 36 years after he made history as the first American to orbit the Earth, Senator John H. Glenn Jr. will return to space as part of a multinational crew with the launch of Space Shuttle Discovery in late October.
Okay, good. I think you're in pretty good shape here. Do this one word here, part. Part. Again, your P's. You want to pronounce your P's with more air as part of a multinational crew.
2. Scientific endeavors on the STS-95 mission are not limited to furthering an understanding of the human body, but also will expand our understanding of the closest star to our planet, the Sun, and how it affects life on Earth.
Now let's check again. This one is actually the W sound. Let me make sure you're okay with this. Hold on a minute.
Also will expand our understanding of the closest star to October. 2. Scientific endeavors on
You want to say there endeavors, stresses on the second syllable.
the STS-95 mission are not limited to furthering an understanding of the human body, but also will expand our understanding.
Yeah, will expand our understanding of the closest star. And I really appreciate your efforts. You are making remarkable efforts on your tone. Your intonation, this is not easy to do, but you are making a deliberate effort to vary your tone, and it's showing. You're speaking and sounding more and more natural.
Of the closest star to our planet,
I guess you can say they're closest. Of the closest star to our planet, the Sun.
And how it affects life on Earth.
Okay, let's read this one together. You ready? Let's do this one more time. So number 2, 3, 2, 1. Scientific endeavors on the STS-95 mission are not limited to furthering an understanding of the human body, but also will expand our understanding of the closest star to our planet, the Sun, and how it affects life on Earth. I probably didn't pause enough on that one. All right, let's keep going.
3. The Achilles tendon is the large tendon located in the back of the leg that inserts into the heel.
Okay, I think you're okay there.
4. Starting in the late 1970s, I developed techniques that integrated the experimental rigor of laboratory
the experimental rigor
with what little was then known.
But we probably say not little, but Americans will say little. With what little was then known
about parrot communication in nature.
Parrot communication in nature. Okay, read this sentence with me one more time. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Starting in the late 1970s, I developed techniques that integrated the experimental rigor of the laboratory with what little was then known about parrot communication in nature.
5. Although a few other species of bats move readily on the ground and some take off from the ground, no other species possess the extreme terrestrial agility and jumping ability of vampire bats.
Vampire bats. Let's read this one together. Now, I put these words in bold, not necessarily because you have to put more stress on those words, but it just means that we're targeting those specific sounds. Those are the sounds that you're trying to target in this particular lesson. Okay, let's read these again. Number 5. Let's just do this one now. Although a few other species of bats move readily on the ground, and some take off from the ground, no other species possess the extreme terrestrial agility and jumping ability of vampire bats. Did you ever think you would read anything about vampire bats in a TOEFL class?
Muscular strength is the ability of...
All right, let's go to your paragraph reading. See how you do with this one.
Muscular strength is the ability of the muscle to create force. This is shown by how much weight can be lifted during one effort. This is important in sports such as track and field and football, as well as routine activities such as lifting groceries or moving furniture.
Okay, the one where you had a little bit of trouble with, the word groceries. Groceries. All right, let's read this one together. 3, 2, 1. Muscular strength is the ability of the muscle to create force. This is shown by how much weight can be lifted during one effort. This is important in sports such as track and field and football, as well as routine activities such as lifting groceries or moving furniture. Notice here I said track and field and football because we have two different ideas here. So I had a little bit of rising tone here, then falling tone when I mentioned the second sport. All right, let's keep going.
1. The pain can be a shooting pain.
All right, let me find where you are here. Got it? Okay, here we go. So I think here you're doing, it looks like vowel sounds here, but let me make sure I understand exactly. Okay, oh no, the P and the B. Am I right? Okay, so you're working on the P and the B. The P is the one that's a little bit hard for you. You've been practicing on that one. The main thing is when you produce that P, you have to put more air or produce more air. And let's do a quick practice exercise here to get ready for this one. Okay, let's do these together. You ready? Pump, bump. Swamp, swab. Notice when I have the B at the end, which is a voice consonant, it actually makes the vowel longer before it. Important. Predators. Predators. Splash. Empty. Embers. Picture. Basin. I'm not sure why I put these same words here. That's a mistake on my part. Let's go to 9. Pox. Box. Description. Describe. And then we go to the practice exercises here. Let's do these together also. Just practice the words for a minute. Pain. Bee. pain, a burning pain, piercing pain, capsule, objects, important. Notice if I said if it were a verb, I'd say objects. But because it's a noun, I say object. So I put stress on the first syllable for the noun. I put stress on the second syllable if it's a verb. About, people, place, been, incorporating, bacteria, have become, laboratory, parrots, symbolic, conceptual. This is a little bit difficult. Notice the TU, conceptual. Whenever you have a TU in the middle of a word, it's sometimes pronounced as a CH. Conceptual. Complex. Vampire bats. Backward. Spider. Bats. Powerful pectoral muscles. Okay, so you say?
1. The pain can be a shooting pain, a burning pain, or even an extremely piercing pain.
Not bad, but the piercing, you're not pronouncing that one enough, but the rest of your P's were good. Piercing. Piercing.
2. A time capsule is a container that is filled with objects that show important things about the way people live in a certain time and a place.
Yes, not bad. But a little bit of trouble with the pausing here. So my first pause will probably be right before that is filled. And maybe I might say this. Read this with me. You ready? A time capsule is a container that is filled with objects that show important things about the way people live in a certain time and place. That's probably how I would do that one. Now, the main thing is with pausing, you'll learn more about this as you keep practicing, but basically, we try to make a pause after 4 or 5 stressed words. And that becomes a thought group.
3. Insulin has already been made by incorporating genetic material into bacteria, the cultures of which have become synthesizers of insulin.
Yeah, synthesizers. Now, here's a good one. You understand this here? This is a very good writing style here. The cultures of which refers to bacteria. So the writer could have said this: insulin has already been made by incorporating genetic material into bacteria, period. The cultures of the bacteria have become synthesizers of insulin. But instead of having 2 short, simple sentences, I use the word which to replace bacteria, and now we have more of a complex sentence. This is good for your writing. Be careful you're not just using short, simple sentences all the time. Okay, I'm going to say right now with your B you're not having trouble with. You haven't had trouble with that. Your problem is more the P consonant sound. I'm going to say you're 90% there right now. But of course, you're practicing. You know exactly what you're trying to do. But make sure that you're always aware when you're speaking English, when you're doing my speaking practice test, when you're talking with native speakers, always be conscious about your P consonants and make sure you pronounce them with enough air so we don't confuse those with the B consonants.
4. Laboratory researchers in Europe demonstrated that gray parrots could learn the kinds of symbolic and conceptual tasks that are generally considered as or co-requisites for complex cognitive and communicative skills.
That was good pausing right there, and that was a very difficult sentence. Wow, you did a good job on that one. You're really starting to get the feel. There's 2 things that I like about your speech right now. You're pausing. You're taking time to pause at the appropriate parts in your sentences. You want to also do this during your TOEFL IBT speaking task. They do look for your pausing and your phrasing, right? And also you're making a conscious effort to vary your tone. I love that. I think you're doing a great job with that. Okay, you had a few words in there you had a little bit of trouble with, but let's take the word symbolic, conceptual, pre or co-requisites, cognitive. Okay, let's read this one together. Laboratory researchers in Europe demonstrated that gray parrots could learn the kinds of symbolic and conceptual tasks that are generally considered as pre or co-requisites for complex cognitive and communicative skills.
5. Vampire bats
vampire bats. I want you to be more aware of the V because we don't want it to sound like a B. Not vampire bats, but vampire bats.
can move side to side and backward, similar to a spider. Instead of taking off in flight from the ground, these bats actually launch themselves into the air with powerful pectoral muscles.
All right. Now let's read this one together. 3, 2, 1. Vampire bats can move side to side and backward, similar to a spider. Instead of taking off in flight from the ground, these bats actually launch themselves into the air with powerful pectoral muscles. Now, when you read this one, your tone on ground kind of fell a little bit, but I would actually have rising tone there because this separates the introductory phrase from the main part of the sentence. So I would say this. Instead of taking off in flight from the ground, these bats actually launch themselves into the air with powerful pectoral muscles. That's how I would read that one. So if you have a thought group that's not the last thought group in the sentence, at the end of that thought group, you want to finish the thought group with a bit of a rising inflection in your voice. Then once you get to the last thought group in the idea, that's where you drop your tone or the tone falls. All right. Great job. Keep up the good work.